Welcome back to Believers Eyes Academy. In this today's topic of the day discussion, we will be discussing the first ever trilateral meeting between three important nations, or for that matter, India's point of view, from the India's point of view, two important countries and a trilateral meeting between these two, right? The India, Iran, and the Uzbekistan makes it absolutely an important development in the geopolitics, considering the strategical point for India of this particular trilateral meeting is an absolute important topic to be studied as a part of GS2, your IR, and also to get an overall understanding about the recent development after the SCO meeting and also after the reciprocal tariffs, and to counterbalance the effects of all of the things that are happening, and most importantly to counterbalance Pakistan, right? So these are some of the important areas that this particular trilateral meeting tries to attend to or covers, is what we will see in this particular video. So let's try and discuss what this trilateral meeting is all about. And in this particular video, we will also try and understand two important aspects. One is the Chabahar Port, which is in Iran, and then we also study about the INSTC, right? Complete development as to what is the importance of these two things and how is it directly related to this particular topic, right? So let's begin. So what is the reason why we are studying this? Because this is the first ever trilateral meeting between India, Iran, and Uzbekistan. And this particular meeting was held in Tehran. And what is the background? And we already discussed that Pakistan is also involved, because if you just try and understand what is the reason for even the creation of the Chabahar Port or the development of INSTC, the main proponent or the main person in the picture or the main country in the picture is the Pakistan, right? Because India wants to trade with Central Eastern or Central Asian countries, mostly the Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, right? Even your Turkmenistan, Iran, and most of the Central Asian countries. But because of the presence of Pakistan, or we can even say that Pakistan blocks India's direct land access to Central Asia. We will see from the image. So if we see, this is India, right? And if and India wants to have trade relations or wants to trade with many of the Central Asian countries, most importantly your Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, right, Iran, and even Azerbaijan and also Russia. But the immediate country next to India, if India wants to access all these Central Asian countries, the immediate next country is your Pakistan. And this is blocking India's interests with most of the Central Asian countries. And now if India wants to trade with these countries from Central Asia, it either has to take a detour, right, use the Suez Canal, which is even more costlier and it is very time consuming, or has to take a detour from China, once again having those trouble with that country as well. So hence this particular trilateral meeting tries to build connections or build bond between these Central Asian countries and India, to ensure that India gets the direct access to these Central Asian countries to enhance its trade and other strategic importances, right? So it is India's, or let's say, because Pakistan is blocking India's direct land access to the Central Asia, it is forcing India to look for alternative routes, and hence India has invested in the Chabahar Port in Iran, and also promoted, or it is still working on, the International North-South Transport Corridor, or the famous INSTC, right? So what is the need for this? As we discussed, one is to the access to Central Asia, right? Uzbekistan, it is a landlocked country and it depends heavily on Russia and China routes to access Uzbekistan. And if you see, Uzbekistan has very good mineral ores, or let's say it is a mineral enriched country, right? Mostly famous for uranium, even gold, right? So hence, if India wants to access Uzbekistan, it has to take a detour or access routes from Russia and China, and it becomes a costly affair. So hence, the Chabahar port, which is situated or which is built in Iran, gives access to India or makes it easy for India to access Uzbekistan through our own Indian Ocean, right? So one biggest need of this particular move is for the access that India needs in the Central Asian region. And then next is the strategic autonomy. Of course, India needs an alternative routes which passes through Pakistan, right? As we discussed, Pakistan is the country which is blocking India's access towards the Central Asian countries like Uzbekistan and all of it. And the other alternative is to go through China's Belt and Road Initiative, or another option is the Suez Canal, which is very time consuming and very costly for India, right? So hence, to ensure or to build strategic autonomy, India needs an alternative to routes which passes through Pakistan and China's BRI, which is the Belt and Road Initiative. And talking about another important need is the energy and security in terms of trade that India wants to strengthen with Central Asia, right? Because of its rich availability of oil, gas, minerals. For example, Kazakhstan, right? It is that country which is pretty much well sufficient with the oil and gas resources, especially minerals like uranium and gold is available in Uzbekistan, right? And this particular cheaper transport through the INSTC or also through the Chabahar port will help India to reduce its transportation costs, right? And also will make sure that the trade is frugal both for India and for the Central Asian countries also, right? So that is three important need as to what is the importance of this particular move. Now talking about the Chabahar port, it is located in the southeastern Iran on the Gulf of Oman. If you see, this is where exactly you have the Chabahar port, right? It is situated in Iran in the Indian Ocean. So it is located in the southeastern Iran on the Gulf of Oman, and it is the only Iranian port with direct access to Indian Ocean, and its gateway. It is also called as the gateway for India to Afghanistan and other Central Asian countries via Iran, bypassing Pakistan. And India, Iran and Afghanistan signed a treaty, a trilateral transit agreement in 2016 to use Chabahar for regional trade. So this is more than sufficient to know about Chabahar port, and this is the map, and this is where the Chabahar port is actually, and now it becomes very easy for India to access all the Central Asian countries by passing the Pakistan region. So now it need not go or it need not take a detour, right? So also, it kind of gives an alternative to India from Pakistan, right? Now talking about INSTC, this is also an important development. We discussed the map. So this is the map of the INSTC, the route, right? All the way from here, it goes all the way, creates a direct route to St. Petersburg, right? And this is one of the important initiatives, a 7,200 kilometer multi-modal corridor, which is having ship, rail and road accesses, and it connects India, Iran, Caspian Sea, Russia and all the way to Europe, which is the St. Petersburg, is an important initiative. And it reduces cargo travel time from 40 days via Suez Canal, which was another alternative to India, or presently the most conventional means of transport through Suez Canal usually used to take 40 days, and now this is going to reduce the time. The INSTC, if promoted or functions, it reduces the entire travel time by half. Nearly, it can complete the entire travel by 20 to 25 days. And India sees it as a strategic alternative to the traditional sea routes dominated by China and most of the regions, especially the land means especially dominated by the Pakistan region, right? So that is one of the important aspects, the Chabahar port and the INSTC. And talking about the implications for India, what are the implications? One is the economic implications, right? So it helps India because now the trade, the cargo, whatever India is trying to export or import, it can reach, or the faster or the movement of these trade items is more faster, and also it is frugal, or I can say it is even cheaper to markets in Central Asia, Russia and Europe, right? So now Indian goods can be accessed by the Central Asian countries like Russia and Europe at a very cheaper price. And this is another alternative, right? This can help India find another alternative market, especially in this particular time when the USA has already put reciprocal tariffs on India, right? So this is also another important alternative from India, where India is trying to look for alternative markets, and this can be one of the important movement to help India find an alternative market in the Central Asian region, especially Russia and China, as it cuts down the entire cost of transportation and it is also more faster, right? And talking about the strategic point of view, it counters China's Belt and Road Initiative and also Pakistan's Gwadar Port, just which is situated 170 kilometers from Chabahar, right? Because see, ultimately what is happening is China is trying to prove its dominance through the Belt and Road Initiative, and also Pakistan has its Gwadar Port in the Indian Ocean, right? So now India, by investing in the Chabahar Port, also has proved its stance, right? Has created its own territory, right, in the Iran by creating the Chabahar Port, and also this adds to what the strategic dominance of India, proving that yes, even I am also capable, and even I also have a port in Chabahar, and also to counter the China's Belt and Road Initiative, we have the INSTC, right? Then talking about the energy security, better access to Central Asian oil and gas as opposed to what we are currently importing, which is even more costlier. And then the regional influence, right? It deepens ties with Iran, Uzbekistan, Armenia, right? Balancing China, Turkey, Pakistan axis. We have those things which is not sufficient, which is not required to be discussing in this particular video. Just keep an understanding that this can also enhance India's regional axis by deepening the ties with some of the important Central Asian countries, which are very important in terms of minerals and other gases that India needs, especially the Iran, Uzbekistan and Armenia, which is directly this particular congruence of India, Iran, Uzbekistan and Armenia is directly countering the other, or trying to balance the other regional powers, or let's say other regional cooperation amidst China, Turkey and Pakistan. And talking about the global diplomacy, it boosts India's role in the Eurasian geopolitics at a time when US sanctions, talking about the reciprocal tariffs, when US sanctions are already on Iran, complicating the trade, right? So this is also one of the important development proving India's stance or India's role in the Eurasian geopolitics as well, right? So this is all for this particular video. I hope you're clear with respect to what these developments actually are taking place. In fact, this trilateral meeting is very beneficial for the country, provided we have so many implications that is going to affect India very directly, right? So now, even before we end the video, let's solve one prelims question. Consider the following statements regarding Chabahar Port and INSTC. Chabahar is the only Iranian port with direct access to the Indian Ocean. The INSTC aims to connect India with Central Asia and Europe via Iran and Russia. The INSTC route completely bypasses Iran. Which of the statements given above are correct? So I hope you have liked the video. For more such informative content, please do subscribe Believers IAS YouTube channel. Signing off, this is Madan Gopal. Have a beautiful day.